hear me all right? You can't you? Well, in any case, I just got back home from work, and it's been hell. This is an update to Screwattack, to anyone who might happen across me on YouTube and somehow can figure out what I'm talking about and understand and connect with me on a spiritual level. I'm not dead. Not dead. Came close, but that's the fun thing about hurricanes. Some people die, some people don't. Some people just have their quality of life diminished for several weeks. Mine was about a month. Well, I was only out of power for about 2 weeks, but I was out of internet for a month if you count the time without power and the time after the power came back on, and we still didn't have internet. I can't believe I just broke this damn thing. But in any case, just a big ol' update to my vlog, and I have absolutely nothing planned to talk about, so right now I'm just going to be rambling incoherently, which is what I'm best at. So, how is it like to be a gamer without games? Well, think about it. It sucks ass. I was living in Pennsylvania. When we'd lose power or internet for a day or two, that was hell. Now I went without power for 2 weeks, and without internet for a month. And pretty much everything I did was on the internet. The only game I had to play after power came back was, I have the Diablo battle chest, so Diablo 1 and Diablo 2, unless you count Solitaire. But, no. So, well, of course I had my 360, but I don't have too many games for it, and I got the Xbox Live connection, and I always have that concern about what's going to happen if I get an achievement and it's not online, and then I go back and then so I just figured screw it, and I played Diablo. Playing the hell out of Diablo 1, I actually beat the game with the warrior, the sorcerer, and then the rogue, and found it funny the slight differences in each of the characters' gameplays. Slight differences in quests, I think probably just had to do with randomization. I forgot English already. In any case, I remember I had to reload on the warrior a few times because he kept getting his ass handed to him, and I needed to level him up some more before he could get by. I actually didn't have that problem with the sorcerer or the rogue. I went through them first to run through, didn't have to restart to level up. But on the warrior, I got some different quests a couple of other times through. But in any case, when I went through with the sorcerer, I didn't have the butcher, which was surprising as hell. I always thought you fought the butcher. But when I went through with the rogue, it really surprised me because a lot of the tomes that you find in the dungeon, it actually speaks it with the rogue's voice like she's reading it, which is something you didn't get at all in Diablo 2. In Diablo 2, whenever you're reading a journal, it always speaks it with the same voice. And, of course, then there's Diablo 2, playing the hell out of that. And after playing Diablo 1, Diablo 2 is really fast. It's much different gameplay in Diablo 2 than Diablo 1. Diablo 2 is extremely popular, Diablo 1 not as, and it's a lot older and no one really plays it anymore, unlike Diablo 2. So, a lot of people probably don't really know too much about Diablo 1, so I just want to touch on some things about Diablo 1 that really stick out apart from Diablo 2. Well, of course, first, there's no run button in Diablo 1, but even then, your general walking speed in Diablo 1 is about half or a third your walking speed in Diablo 2, so Diablo 1 is a much slower game. The dungeon in Diablo 1, of course, there's only one dungeon, one town, that's it. The dungeon is 16 levels deep. Now, The size of the dungeon, if you were to play that game in the Diablo 2 engine, you could probably beat it in under 4 hours. But I think I was getting through the game as a sorceress and the rogue, sorcerer and the rogue, sorry, bleh, in about 15 hours, which is still a really short game. Uh, the whole game of Diablo 1 is about as long as one episode of Diablo 2. Of course, with the expansion, Diablo 2 has 5 episodes and 3 difficulty levels, whereas Diablo 1, I don't believe there's anything higher than the first difficulty level. They did have an expansion, but it was an unofficial expansion, I believe. My brother bought it, I remember that, and he wasn't too impressed. It had some sort of tentacle cavern growing out the southeast end of Tristram, and you get to watch it grow as you adventure, and eventually you'll be allowed in because it'll actually grow a tentacle bridge across the river, and then you can go down into the dungeon. It's like, great, it's there, you can see it, but you're not fucking allowed to go in it yet. Woohoo. I'm already clipping 7 minutes. Okay. In any case, Diablo 1, very slow gameplay, not nearly as many enemies to fight, but it's a lot, it was a lot darker because, even in the bright and colorful areas, it was still dark because you couldn't friggin' see the enemies. They were, sneaking around the corners and whatnot, not to mention those that could just turn invisible and move around. The guys in the Halls of the Blind come to mind. They're bright yellow and splatter and scream everywhere when you kill them, but they turn invisible and slip around in dark-ass hallways. That's the color and darkness thing. There's, of course, the arguments about Diablo 3 and the color versus the action versus what. Here's my general beliefs on Diablo 3 anymore. After getting through the shock and the what the fuck and all that, and oh my god, rainbow! Yeah, that. My thoughts on Diablo 3 now, sort of finalized thoughts. I'm still not going to buy it when it comes out. I believe it's probably going to be a very fun game to play. There are some aspects in the gameplay I'm still like, what the hell for? But, like, the health orbs instead of health potions, because that worked so well in so many other games that tried that and it completely fucked up the battle system. But besides that, the fighting system looks fun. They got that down. It looks to be a very nice action game. It just doesn't look to be horror whatsoever. Diablo 3 does look related to Diablo 2. There is a general connection there, and you can see where it comes from there. But Diablo 3 has absolutely nothing in common with Diablo 1. That's the main part that is killing it for me. I can accept it as a nice game, but it's too cartoony in my opinion. Too generalized and made for just whoever is going to pay the most money, made for the general public, not for the Diablo fans. So it's going to be a nice game, I'm sure. But I'm not thinking of it as a Diablo game. I'm not. It has the Diablo name, but I don't think of it as Diablo. And if it's still being played 3 years after it's released, I might pick it up then. But until then, just not really too interested. So that's it. Gotta wrap this up. So, bye.